Today, we're unpacking one of the most powerful stories of resilience you'll probably ever hear. Seriously, it's an unbelievable story about a dancer, a tragedy, and a comeback that became the stuff of legend. Okay, let's dive right in.
So think about this for a second. It's a question that's almost impossible to wrap your head around, right? For an artist whose whole life, whose entire craft is built on movement, this kind of loss seems like it would be the absolute end of the road, the end of a dream.
But not this time. Nope. In this story, that devastating moment wasn't the end. It was actually just the beginning of a journey so incredible, you really have to see it to believe it.
So to really get the power of the comeback, you first have to understand what was lost. Let's go all the way back to the beginning. Meet Sudha Chandran. She was born into a family that just breathed culture, and from a very young age, she fell completely in love with Bharatanatyam. You know, that's the classical Indian dance with all the intricate footwork and incredible storytelling. And she wasn't just interested, she was a natural. By the time she was a teenager, she was already a rising star, performing on big stages and carving out this amazing future for herself in the world of dance. And then, just like that, in a single moment, that bright future was plunged into total darkness. She was only 16 years old. 16! She was on her way back from a pilgrimage, and what happened next would change everything forever.
You know, what's really devastating when you look at this timeline is how it all happened. It wasn't one single event, but this cascade of terrible luck. The accident itself was survivable. But then, at the hospital, a small wound on her ankle was completely overlooked. They just plastered right over it. And because of that, gangrene set in and started spreading up her leg. It left her parents with an absolutely impossible choice: her leg or her life.
For pretty much any other dancer, this would have been the final curtain. But Sudha Chandran? She just refused to let it be. This is where the story gets incredible. This is where the phoenix rises from the ashes.
A huge turning point in her comeback story was this piece of technology right here, the Jaipur Foot. Now, this wasn't just any old prosthetic. It was an amazing piece of engineering designed specifically to allow for a lot of mobility. For Sudha, it wasn't just a replacement limb. It was this tiny glimmer of hope that maybe, just maybe, she could dance again.
But, getting the prosthetic was really just step one. What came next was 2 years of just grueling, unimaginable work. We're talking about relearning everything: balance, posture, all those intricate dance movements, all while dealing with constant, intense pain. It was a battle of pure, raw willpower.
And this moment right here is the payoff. After those 2 long years, she got back on stage. The performance was perfect. The crowd, of course, gave her a standing ovation. But the most powerful moment came after. Her own father walked up to her, and in this traditional sign of ultimate respect for a great artist, he touched her feet. In that moment, he didn't just see his daughter. He saw a master who had conquered the impossible.
So her story was already the stuff of legend, right? But this is where it takes a really unique twist, and her personal triumph becomes this huge public inspiration.
So a film producer named Ramoji Rao heard her story, and he just knew it had to be shared with the world. And the result was this 1985 film, Mayuri, a biopic based directly on her life. But here is the most incredible part of all. The director made a choice that nobody had ever made before. He didn't cast an actress. He asked Sudha Chandran to star in the movie as herself. Can you even imagine the courage that took? To not just remember, but to actually relive the most traumatic and then the most triumphant moments of your life for a camera? It was unheard of. Mayuri actually became the first Indian film where the real person played themselves in their own life story.
And honestly, who better to bring that story to life? As she puts it herself, her whole journey was just fueled by this unshakable belief in herself and in something bigger.
And the film? It was a massive success, not just emotionally, but critically. How big? It won a staggering 14 Nandi Awards, which are kind of like the state's version of the Oscars. And that record? It still stands today as the most ever won by a single Telugu film.
Mayuri kicked off her acting career, but her real legacy, well, it goes way beyond the silver screen. She became this powerful, enduring symbol of what the human spirit is capable of.
Sudha didn't just stop with Mayuri. She won a special jury award at the National Film Awards for that performance, and then went on to have this long, incredible career in film and TV, even starring in massive hit shows like Nagin. To this day, she is a global inspiration. She is living proof that your biggest weakness can become your greatest strength. Her life completely redefines what disability even means, showing all of us that physical limits are just no match for a spirit that refuses to be broken.
A story like this really forces you to look at your own life, doesn't it? It leaves us with a pretty big question. The next time you're facing something that feels impossible, where are you going to find your strength?